Yo, hey, this shit easy, nigga. Hey, all I'm talking about, nigga, I'm still out here trying to get it.
Contender Regime Boxing checking back in with y'all, man. What's happening? Had to chime in on this real quick, man. We got to stop all the ERROL Spence Jr. and Canelo Alvarez talk. You know what I'm saying? I know that's a fight that, you know, for some reason people feel like that's the fight to make. You feel me? But I mean, it's far-fetched. You know what I'm saying? And we still ain't even got ERROL Spence Jr. versus Terrence Crawford. Like, why would ERROL Spence go up to 160 if your goal is to be undisputed at 147? You still got to fight Manny Pacquiao possibly. You still got to fight Terrence Crawford. And then we talking about, you know, and if he does go up to 160, you know he's not coming back down to 147. This will essentially be the same shit that Kell Brook did. You know what I'm saying? And it's not going, I mean, Kell Brook did come back to 147, but was that the best thing for him? He did that out for the strength of, you know, his heart and, you know, his determination to prove people wrong. Everybody was on his ass talking about you ducking ERROL Spence. You better go back to 147 and defend your title. So he did that off for the strength of the fans and people, you know, really just, you know, testing his manhood, so to speak. Like, bruh, you gotta go back and defend your title. You know what I'm saying? So he just really did that off for the strength. That probably wasn't necessarily the best thing for him to do, but he did that. But for ERROL Spence Jr., like, I don't see him going up to 160 and then coming back down to 147. If that fight does materialize, it'll be later on down the road, like 2 or 3 years from now. Now, who's to say? I don't know if the way Canelo been moving, he might continue to avoid the Jamal Charlos and the Demetrius Andres and the Caleb Plants and the David Benavidez and the Archer Beterbiev. He might continue to avoid those guys. You know, the WBC, they just came out and said, Canelo, yes, he's the most important boxer. You know, they got him under lock and key. They got Canelo under the best protection plan money can buy. This man is in government official witness protection. You feel me? Like, they got this dude. Canelo is already a pretty good fighter, very skilled. You know what I'm saying? So why you protecting him like this? You know what I'm saying? Like, they giving him all type of loopholes and rules and different shit. You feel me? Like, they breaking bread with Canelo. You feel me? They ain't trying to lose that check. You feel me? So it's like they got this man under an extreme protection program. So he may well be able to avoid these top guys that we want to see him fight for the next 2 to 3 years and remain, you know, at a level where people think, okay, he's the best or one of the best. You know what I'm saying? Basically, what I'm saying is he may be able to stay away from having his reputation or his resume tarnished by taking the L to Jamal Charlo or Andre, to one of these guys that we want to see him fight. That way, the ERROL Spence Jr. fight would still be as big as people think it is 2 to 3 years from now. That is possible. But who's to say that, you know, he won't fall out of the good graces of the WBC, or he fucking grows some nuts and say, look, I'm going to fight Jamal Charlo. I'm going to fight Demetrius Andrade. I'm going to fight Caleb Plant. You know what I'm saying? And he fuck around and take an L. Who's to say that won't happen? Then this whole ERROL Spence and Canelo shit, that shit gonna die down. You know what I'm saying? So we putting the stagecoach before the horses right now, talking about ERROL Spence and Canelo. I mean, I know, you know, it's boxing and shit. You know, motherfuckers got fantasy fights and shit. That shit cool, but we need to make sure that we can get ERROL Spence versus Terrence Crawford first, or ERROL Spence versus Manny Pacquiao. You dig what I'm saying? I want to see what Earl look like at 154. We already talking about 160. Now, if Earl trying to just cash out for one more fight, if he like fuck, which I don't think this the case, but let's say, you know, if he came out and said like, fuck it, I'm done with boxing. You know what I'm saying? I did everything I wanted to do. I'm going to just fight one more fight, and I'm going to go up to 160 and fight Canelo and retire. Cool. That makes sense, but I ain't heard Earl say that. He said that after my accident, I could have retired. You know what I'm saying? Basically showing motherfuckers like I did enough already. Like, I didn't have to come back. I came back because I had something to prove. I came back because I still want to do this. I still feel like I'm the best. So he came back, put on a phenomenal and dominant performance versus Danny Garcia, and he did his thing. Now he said, I still want my goal to be undisputed. It still stands. That's what I want at 147. And then I'll move up to 154. You know what I'm saying? But you feel me? Canelo got to see Jamal Charlo before anything. You feel me? Because Jamal Charlo going to beat his ass. That's how I see the shit. I don't think he can fuck with Jamal Charlo. You feel me? I think it's a good fight. I think it's a 50-50 fight. If you look on paper, it's a 50-50 fight. But I feel like Jamal Charlo got all the smoke in the world for him. But that's an obvious reason why Canelo is avoiding that matchup, because it's not favorable for him. We know that Canelo only takes favorable matchups. I'm not talking about just in the terms of size. I'm talking about in everything. It's always something. It's always a loophole for Canelo to take a fight. Look at this Callum Smith dude. You know what I'm saying? Callum Smith looked like an NBA player standing next to Canelo. So he, just like Kovalev, he got the size advantage. But look at the fighting style. Look at the dudes that he fought. This dude, the best fighter on his resume is probably George Groves. You know what I'm saying? He fighting the same level of competition that Gennady Golovkin was fighting before Gennady Golovkin fought Danny Jacobs. All of these guys that, you know, that are tailor-made for him, that we know he gonna beat. So what makes you think he finna get in there and compete with Canelo when he ain't never been on this level ever? And then you look at the style that he fight. He's a tall guy who don't fight tall. He like to fight in the pocket, you know what I'm saying, and trade punches. Canelo finna beat this dude ass. But it's gonna look good because he's undefeated, you know what I'm saying, and he's been beating up on all these other dudes. You know, he's a champion, so it's gonna look good. But that is the masterful cherry picking of Canelo Alvarez. You gotta give him credit. You got to give that boy credit for his masterful cherry picking, because it is an art. It is an art, and I don't think anybody has mastered that shit better than Canelo Alvarez. He knows how to pick them when they right for the picking, and he knows how to get a guy that look good on paper, but the people really know what the fuck going on. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, I don't know like what all this talk about Errol Spence Jr. and Canelo Alvarez is about when Canelo still need to see Jamal Charlo. He don't even need to think about fighting nobody from Texas if they name not Jamal Charlo, period. You know what I'm saying? Period. Don't come around here in Texas talking about you trying to fight somebody from Texas if it ain't Jamal Charlo. You know what I'm saying? That's first and foremost. You feel me? So that's my thoughts on the situation, man. Y'all let me know what y'all think. You know, I know as boxing fans, everybody get all crazy. You know, oh my God, this is a big fight. Oh my God, I'm ready to see this fight. Look, come on now. Errol Spence, I think he can compete with certain fighters at 160 later in his career. But that ain't, come on, bro, it's weight classes for a reason. You feel me? We don't even know how Earl gonna look at 154. We don't even know. We haven't even seen him at 154. We don't even know how his skills translate to that division. It's big motherfuckers at 154. Look at Errol Spence standing next to Jermell Charlo. He look little as fuck. Come on now. You got Jamal Charlo at 160 with all the smoke ready to knock a motherfucker head off. Why we talking about Errol Spence versus Canelo? Y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments, man. Contender regime boxing. I'll holler at y'all boys, man.